Jenkins has apparently spoken out. Someone posted on her Facebook account, "I hope this little man's mom gets full custody. No child should live like this." And she responded, "No child should live with a parent that ditched him for alcohol and street life and pops back up to make a name on social media. My son is staying right where he is." My son? You mean her son? This infuriates me. I don't give a damn what the reason is. That is her son. At the end of the day, she has apparently done everything to right her wrongs, if this is true what you're saying. And her go-to all the time is you're trying to make a name for yourself on social media. How about she's a mother who loves her son? Maybe she made some wrong decisions, I don't know, and is trying to right those wrongs. This pisses me off so freaking bad. That will always be that baby's mother, no matter how much you try to change that. She deserves to have a relationship with her child. And if you truly love him, your living situation is not great. You would allow him to live in a better living condition and still be able to be a part of his life. This is all about control.
Stephanie Jenkins' world isn't just spiraling, it's straight up flipping into chaos, and she's dragging Drew Jenkins down with her. This isn't your typical influencer mess. This is deep, twisted, and now dangerously close to legal disaster. Because for Stephanie and Drew, following court orders apparently isn't part of the plan. They're out here acting like the law is just a suggestion, and what they don't seem to realize is that every post, every comment, every smug move they make online is just giving Desiree more and more ammunition for her case. Things hit a boiling point when Drew and Stephanie blatantly ignored a court order that was supposed to finally allow Deshaun to see his biological mother after 3 painful years of silence. This wasn't some complicated custody arrangement, it was simple. Drew was instructed to bring Deshaun to a neutral location for just 2 hours so he could reconnect with his mom. No overnights, no strings attached, just 2 hours to begin rebuilding what had been lost. But they didn't even try. Drew ghosted the visit without explanation, no call, no apology, nothing. And Stephanie? She stood right by him, backing the move like it was some kind of rebellious victory. But let's be clear, this wasn't a protest. It was cruelty. It was control. They didn't just ignore a judge, they denied a child the chance to feel loved by his real mother. Stephanie positioned herself like some defiant heroine, but all she really did was show just how far she's willing to go to manipulate the narrative. And the narrative she's pushing? It's not about Deshaun's well-being. It's about clout, attention, and keeping control of a storyline she created. After defying the court order, Stephanie had the nerve to post a video online of Deshaun playing in a water balloon fight with her other kids. The timing? Disgustingly convenient. It was right after he was supposed to have that visit with his mom. Instead of owning up, she turned it into content, using Deshaun like a prop in a carefully staged, happy family video. The kicker? The court specifically stated Deshaun wasn't to be posted online. There was no gray area. But Stephanie didn't care. She let the video go public, and when people in the comments called her out, she doubled down like she was the one being wronged. One comment said they hoped Desiree would finally get custody of her son. Stephanie clapped back with, "No child should live with a parent that ditched them for alcohol and street life. My son is staying right where he is." That statement alone is wild. First, she's pushing a completely false narrative. There's no real evidence Desiree abandoned her son. And second, my son? Deshaun isn't legally or biologically hers. That's not her child. Yet she talks as if Desiree is irrelevant, like the child somehow belongs to her now. It's more than delusional, it's deeply disrespectful. Stephanie has rewritten Desiree's story to cast herself as some kind of savior, but anyone with eyes can see what's really going on. This isn't about love. It's about content. Deshaun isn't being protected, he's being paraded. Stephanie's top priority isn't motherhood, it's engagement. She thrives on the likes, the shares, the aww in her comments, and all of it comes at the expense of a child who never asked to be part of any of this. Let's talk about the living situation. Stephanie's kept her entire family, including Deshaun, in a cramped motel room. Not because there were no other options, but because the mess makes for better content. The chaos, the noise, the struggle, it all creates the kind of aesthetic that draws in viewers. People watch, they feel bad, they comment, they follow. And Stephanie milks it. Deshaun's become a character in a story she's carefully crafting. Every move feels scripted. Every post is a scene. And worst of all, every time she features him, she's opening the door to more questions she wants people to ask. Why didn't he see his mom? Where is Desiree? And then she uses those questions to feed her next TikTok, her next post, her next dramatic update.
Why Stephanie does not want Deshaun reconnecting with his biological mother. Stephanie has 4 other children living in a motel room. If Deshaun connects with his biological mother is going to provide things for him that Stephanie and Drew cannot in the motel room. He's most likely going to get toys and have his own room at his biological mother's house versus sharing a bed and living in a motel room with 6 other people. Stephanie is jealous her kids aren't going to have that. Stephanie wants her stepson suffering with them instead of doing what's best for him. Keeping an eye on this, and I'll let you guys know if the visit with Deshaun and his biological mother actually happened, or if Drew and Stephanie broke the court order already and dipped. I have a feeling that after a few visits with mom, Stephanie and Drew know that he's most likely going to want to live with mom and have his own room versus coming back to the hotel room every
I'm not sure if you can tell in those clips, but at the end of that, we did take the time to walk around the yard and clean up all the water balloons. At that point, the sun was completely behind the building, so it was time to bring out the babies and let them have a little outside time. Drew was already planning to make some fried shrimp when he got back from gig work, so I had that shrimp out thawing, and then the kids and I played outside till he got back. When Drew got back, we did the shower routine for everybody, and then we started this fun activity to practice our reading and writing, where I let the kids know a recipe I want them to try to create. So the kids get the opportunity to sit down, write the recipe to the best of their knowledge, and then we all sit down and rewrite the recipe together with the proper spelling and proper instructions. We ended the evening with our family dinner, and we watched The Mask. Now I know, living in a motel with a family of 7 ain't ideal, but I'm incredibly grateful for the movie nights we get to have as family. Hearing all my family laugh at the same time just makes my soul complete. Alright, thank y'all for watching. Have a good night. Bye-bye now.
Deshaun's life is being turned into a series of TikToks and emotional Instagram posts. Stephanie presents herself as the overwhelmed, fiercely protective figure just trying to raise her kids in impossible conditions. She casts Desiree, Deshaun's biological mother, as the reckless one who abandoned her child and only decided to reappear now that he's grown and settled. But the truth underneath all the filters and captions is much more disturbing. Stephanie's not protecting Deshaun, she's using him, and every post, every comment, every camera pan just proves it further. This isn't about love. It's not about family. It's not even about parenting. It's about views. While Stephanie's TikToks are dropping faster than court dates, Desiree has been staying quiet, but don't mistake her silence for weakness. Because while Stephanie was chasing engagement, Desiree was building a case. The moment she found out she'd been denied a scheduled visitation with her son, a visit ordered by the court, no less, she didn't pop off online or go live in tears. She did something more powerful. She got a lawyer. Desiree launched a GoFundMe, not for sympathy, but for legal action. And in a matter of days, she raised over $10,000 from people who recognized the injustice and wanted to help her fight back the right way. With that money, she hired a professional attorney who is now laser-focused on bringing Stephanie and Drew's court violations into the legal spotlight. This isn't some casual custody battle anymore. It's a serious legal matter, and Desiree is coming prepared with proof, documentation, timelines, and receipts, everything she needs to show that the people parading Deshaun around on TikTok are the same ones keeping him from his mother. And while she's gearing up for court, Stephanie and Drew have been busy spinning their version of the story for the internet. But when they saw how much support Desiree was getting, real support, with money behind it, they panicked. That's when Drew suddenly popped up out of nowhere, announcing a live session to clear the air. After weeks of ignoring texts, missing court-ordered visits, and refusing to give any explanation for blocking Desiree's access to her son, he suddenly wanted to talk. And what he said only made things murkier. He claimed Deshaun had received a letter from his mom and was in the process of writing back. But the bizarre part? Drew made a point of announcing that Deshaun knows how to read and write. That one comment made the internet go silent for a second. Because, why would you say that about a 9-year-old unless you were trying to steer the audience's perception? It was unnecessary, awkward, and honestly suspicious. It felt like Drew wasn't just trying to reassure people Deshaun could write, he was trying to lay the groundwork for a specific narrative. One where Deshaun supposedly makes his own decisions, while in reality, he might be repeating what he's been told. That's when people started to question whether Deshaun was being coached. Was he being guided behind the scenes on what to say, what to feel, how to respond? Was this child being used not just for sympathy, but also to protect the adults in his life from legal consequences? Because when adults feel the need to say the obvious, like, he knows how to read and write, it usually means they're trying to distract from a bigger issue or cover something up. In the live, Drew claimed he wasn't stopping Deshaun from responding to his mother. That it was up to him if he wanted to reply or not. But that's the classic deflection. When someone doesn't want to look controlling, they pretend they're being hands-off. It's a way to avoid responsibility while still pulling all the strings. If it really was up to Deshaun, why wasn't he allowed to see his mother in the first place? Why deny him a simple, court-approved 2-hour visit? This isn't a story about a loving stepmom trying to keep things together. It's a story about control, manipulation, and performative parenting. Stephanie has created an entire online presence built around struggle and sacrifice, but she's sacrificing Deshaun's well-being in the process. She had a choice. She could have protected his privacy, respected court orders, and supported a healthy co-parenting relationship. Instead, she made him part of her brand. She films him, posts him, reads comments about him, and weaponizes public opinion to justify keeping him from his biological mother. Meanwhile, Desiree isn't playing the internet game. She's not dropping emotional soundbites or posting staged videos. She's collecting evidence. She's building a case. And when this all goes before a judge, where TikTok likes and live stream views don't matter, it'll be Desiree with the facts, not the filters. Deshaun is 9. Just 9. And yet somehow, he's being treated like he's old enough to make life-altering decisions, ones that even adults struggle with. That's the real issue here. A child that young shouldn't be responsible for deciding whether to reconnect with a parent after years of separation.
Get a phone call after she wrote the letter to Deshaun. But my question is why? It's because you're shitting bricks that she got the money for the attorney that you didn't think she was able to get. So you allowed her to have the phone call, which is great. I'm so glad Desiree got to talk to Deshaun. But let's be real, W2 Drew. Y'all are freaking scared and I'm loving it. You're trying to backtrack the alienation now. But that woman is gonna win some kind of custody. And the freaking nerve of Stephanie to say that Desiree chose the street life and alcohol over her son. When you have a whole nother kid that you don't see, you don't pay child support for, and you're steady running from court so you don't have to pay the child support. Someone asked Drew, is he always on his phone while he's playing with Deshaun? And he was like, it's my life. Why does it matter to you? That just goes to show you his mentality, period. And he said he doesn't work a gig Monday through Friday. He does it whenever he wants. More like you don't want to be bothered with the kids because you just jumped to do this now. They are so freaking frustrating to me. Stephanie Jenkins is crashing me hell out. He posted, I think I'm going to go live tomorrow between 10 and 11 a.m. There are some things floating about, including the visit. He knows how to read and write, so Deshaun is finishing writing his own letter back to his mother. I'm not good at these live things. Or is it because you know she's raised over $10,000 to fight for her baby? You should be encouraging him. Then he posted, new toy babe got me because down on the D-pad stopped working. What about saving up for a proper housing for those kids? Then here goes Stephanie posting Deshaun again and again, even though she is not supposed to. I guess this was their splash pad. Someone donated over $1,100 last night. I am beyond happy that Desiree is able to get the money that she needs to fight for her child. The fact that these kind of things are their priorities and he's posting things like this instead of it being between him and Desiree, like, hey, you know what? This is how he's feeling. Let's try to work on this. And the post that Stephanie posted saying how she felt about it shows.
That kind of decision comes with emotional weight, legal implications, and psychological pressure he simply can't process. And that's exactly why the judge didn't leave it up to Deshaun, because it's not supposed to be his burden to carry. The court gave a direct order, not a loose suggestion, for a reason. Drew, as the adult and legal guardian, was expected to guide Deshaun through this process with support and structure. Not step back, shrug, and act like he's just along for the ride. But that's exactly what Drew did. He deflected. He shifted the weight onto Deshaun, like the decision was solely his son's to make, as if that alone absolved him of responsibility. And if that wasn't unsettling enough, he made that declaration live on social media, while Deshaun sat right there within earshot, watching his own life be debated in real time. These weren't lighthearted comments or harmless anecdotes. Drew was unpacking legal drama and heavy family matters while the child listened. That's not parenting. That's a performance dressed up as concern. And the irony? It's thick. Drew has spent months insisting he doesn't manipulate Deshaun, yet here he was, putting on a carefully calculated live stream with the child front and center, just to influence public opinion. He wants people to believe he's the reasonable one, the victim of an overreacting mother. But in reality, he's broadcasting a narrative while the very child at the center of it all sits quietly in the background, absorbing every second. If that's not emotional manipulation, what is? And then, finally, under the growing pressure, Drew caved. He allowed Deshaun to have a phone call with his mother. But don't mistake that for a change of heart. This wasn't a moment of clarity or compassion, it was fear. Fear of legal accountability finally catching up with him. Because while Drew and Stephanie were busy posting curated chaos, Desiree wasn't playing the internet game. She wasn't trying to win sympathy with emotional videos or fire off clapbacks in the comments. She made one smart, strategic move. She lawyered up. Desiree didn't just hire an attorney, she got a real one. Not some self-proclaimed advocate from Facebook, but a professional who came equipped with everything needed to flip this case on its head. Documents. Court orders. Receipts. Timelines. Missed visits. Deleted posts. Screenshots of every shady move. All of it. She's not showing up to argue. She's showing up to win, with evidence. The very things Drew and Stephanie thought would get buried or disappear. They're being compiled into a rock-solid case. Every live. Every snide comment. Every TikTok where Deshaun's face was used for clicks, it's all being saved. And when court day arrives, those digital breadcrumbs will speak louder than any of Drew's livestream excuses ever could. And here's the kicker, Drew's got nothing. No legal representation in sight. No plan. Just a long trail of contradictions and broken court orders that aren't going to hold up under oath. It's like he's gearing up for a courtroom showdown with a TikTok account instead of a legal team. And he knows it. That's why he's scrambling. That's why he's suddenly playing nice and allowing phone calls, acting like he's always been supportive. But this last-minute shift won't undo the months of damage already done. And what's next? Well, while Drew and Stephanie keep spinning their story online, Desiree's attorney is pulling together everything. Every ignored visitation. Every comment. Every post. Each one adds weight to the picture they're painting, one of two adults who cared more about controlling a narrative than honoring a court order. And the twist? If Stephanie and Drew had simply followed the judge's original order, 2 hours in a neutral place, that's it, Desiree might have walked away with a standard shared custody agreement. But now, thanks to their defiance and disregard, she may just walk into court and walk out with full custody. Or at the very least, way more access than she ever had before. The phone call they allowed might look like progress on the outside, but legally? It's too little, too late, the damage is done. Unless Drew acts quickly and really cooperates before the next hearing, he might lose more than just his credibility, he could lose his place in Deshaun's life entirely. So what do you think? Is this a case of misunderstood parenting, or are Drew and Stephanie just too deep in their own storyline to see what's coming? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. This drama is far from over, and we'll be here for every jaw-dropping update.